If you're new in town or just new to this whole podcast thing, you're tuning in to Law by Night, the podcast that discusses all things vampiric with no fear of breaching the Masquerade. In this episode, we begin to unravel the mysteries behind the origins, motives and cultures of the 13 vampiric clans in this world of darkness. This episode will focus on the usurping Warlocks, Clan Tremere. Some time ago during our initial encounter, I expressed to you the importance of understanding the basics of living as a vampire, a kindred 101 of sorts. During this discussion, I gave you a crash course on the 13 clans that predominantly rule these modern nights, as well as the Caitiff and Finnbloods. Since then, I have heard that you have been pretty eager to learn more about the clans to better help you survive the modern nights. I have heard since that you are particularly enthusiastic to learn about the Broken Clan, Clan Tremere, masters of blood sorcery, wielders of the discipline Auspex, and practitioners of the Dominate discipline. Your eagerness to learn pleased me, but your choice of starting clan was somewhat of a surprise. That is, until I heard you refer to them as Trememes and Wizard Boys, reminding me of that insightful and yet eccentric Polish elder that has clearly curdled your canite education. Fucking Toreadors. But I digress. You are here to learn of House Tremere. No, I meant what I said. The Tremere do not date their origins back to some antediluvian or second-generation vampire like you and I. They are so named after their leader of House Tremere, a faction within the Order of Hermes, Europe's most powerful mages. I can understand how and why you are startled by this. Groups of mortals going out of their way to become one of the damned, a scion of the night? As the old proverb goes, desperate times call for desperate measures. House Tremere, like the rest of the mages during the Dark Ages, knew that the good people were beginning to grow smart. Their faith in God and magic had been replaced by a love for science, with mobs of mortals rising up to perform witch hunts to dispel the earth of such fiends. Some mages fled and hid, whilst others fought back. House Tremere saw the flaws of both of these methods and came to the decision that something drastic needed to be done if they wanted to survive. Why is this a problem? The belief of mortals, I mean? Well, to my crude understanding, the effectiveness of magic in this world of darkness corresponds to the witnesses. Imagine if I were able to throw a fireball at you. If you did not believe I could do it without the aid of some prop, it would not happen. My explanation of the magic system of mages may sound strangely simple, I know, one that is perhaps riddled with inaccuracies and probably half-assed as a result. But alas, I am no mage, and neither am I a Tremere, contrary to popular belief. House Tremere would begin their experiments, conjuring a new means of harnessing great and dangerous power. No doubt many died, causing House Tremere to be feared and shunned by the Order of Hermes. As controversial as all of this is, one must admire the tenacity of these wizards. One of the motives of achieving great power was toying with the idea of immortality, which turns our attention to vampires. The mages knew of vampires, of course, and used them as a means for greater power, if through the means of filtering the longevity from their vampiric curses. A powerful mage by the name of Goratrix will develop an elixir distilled from the essence of captured canites, mostly Gangrel and Zemitzi, presenting it to a solution to their problems to the high-ranking mages. And with their approval, many a terrible atrocity was performed. And thus, House Tremere would become Clan Tremere. Not straight away though, as a small pocket of vampire mages is barely a bloodline, let alone a clan. They made no haste to change that, however, as they embraced other mages, in addition to capturing other elder kindred to diabolize them to gain their powers and strength. Whether it was the intention of Goratrix to turn House Tremere into fully fledged vampires or becoming vampiric magicians was an unpleasant happenstance, no one is certain. No records of this elixir of Goratrix has been found, by me at least. It wouldn't surprise me if the Tremere have them locked up in some chantry somewhere, but my warlock contacts insist such recipe doesn't exist. It also wouldn't surprise me if they of course were lying. As you can imagine, the efforts of the Tremere made them a brutal enemy of every kindred, especially the Nosferatu, Gangrels and Semitsi, who were still the playthings of the Tremere as they pursued with their experiments, now using said clans to create the gargoyles to provide the muscle power they obviously lacked to fight the new enemies of a world they did not understand. This would also be an advantage to the Tremere, as the Cainites knew not how these magicians would think and how to deal with their new blood sorcery, otherwise known as thaumaturgy. Fighting like mages did not do much good, however, as the Tremere numbers plummeted. Organization was needed in order for them to survive, beyond extending their embraces outside their order. The Tremere would become subtler, more grounded in their behaviors, to avoid angering the clans further, while seeking a means to make amends. What the Tremere lacked was a true antediluvian, a Cainite with near godlike powers. The Cainites of the Dark Ages feared their great-grandsires, so to destroy one would grant the Tremere's respect. They chose to eliminate Solot, the antediluvian of Clan Salubri, who was despised and weak. The Tremere would make the Salubri the new enemies of the other clans through false propaganda. The Tremere not only destroyed the reputation of Clan Salubri, but successfully diabolized an antediluvian thanks to the clan head, Tremere, making him an antediluvian, be it in name alone. They were and still are hated by some clans, but they got the respect they demanded. Now, it is worth mentioning that some would believe that Solot tricked Tremere into diabolizing him to assume control of his body, and thus the clan. Others stated this was a ruse behalf of Gortrix and his soon-to-be Tremere anti-tribute to force the neonates to join him in the Anarch revolt. What you choose to believe, however, is down to you. The Tremere would not catch a break there, however, as the Inquisition would hunt them down as both monsters and sorcerers. In addition, the mages also began their assault on the Tremere, a war that has bled into the modern nights, one that I've heard is referred to as the Massasso War. Some would use this as an excuse to leave the faction, joining the Anarch revolt of Gortrix, who claimed that the leadership was corrupt. The result of all of these setbacks made the Tremere consider joining alliances with the other clans, notably the Cappadocians, the original clan of death before the Giovannis diabolized them. This begging also played its part during the Convention of Thorns, when the Camarilla was originally formed. Gortrix and the Tremere that believed his stories of the Tremere's soul-swapping bodies with Solot took the Tremere secrets to the Sabbat, forming House Gortrix. It would not last forever, as it is said that the Warlocks of the Ivory Tower would destroy all the anti-tribute Tremere with some fancy ritual in 1998, after being allowed into a chantry in Mexico City. There is no doubt in my mind that there are some still in hiding, as I refuse to believe that all the anti-tribute Tremere are that stupidly naive. It is no secret that the Tremere value their own policies and clan before the might of the Camarilla, but you may not know of their own hierarchy. One can imagine how incredibly oppressive that must be, but it does have its perks. Any Tremere is welcome into any chantry, a Tremere's base. When you make a stand, Clan Tremere will stand with you. They can get things done and they do it pretty well. They cursed the Banu Hakim after all, to make their particular thirst for blood a threat to themselves. They refer to their hierarchy as a pyramid scheme, which no doubt you have heard of. The apprentices and neonates at the bottom, and Tremere himself at the very top. It is a bit more fleshed out than that, I assure you, as each of its 7 positions have their own ranks, called degrees. At its base, the bottom, are the acolytes, who have yet to be fully released into the world. Beneath them are the ghouls and gargoyles. There are some clan members outside of Tremere that are part of this level, and they are referred to as Tremere, who drink the blood of the Tremere, effectively blood bonding them to the members of a given chantry. Apprentices are the Tremere who have been officially presented into kindred society. The Magisters teach the apprentices in whatever magic the usurpers teach there, supporting the clan in the process. A regent rules a chantry, effectively making them the leader of a Tremere of a given city, usually the primogen. The regent also allows an individual to be side within the chantry and oversee the neonate initiation into the chantry, making them swear to the code of the oath of the Tremere, which is just as pompous and predictable and boring as it sounds. Lords are responsible for several chantries, usually the size of a large US state or many countries in Europe. There are usually 7 lords for every pontifices, who obviously rule larger spaces. Finally, it is the Council of 7 who rule the clan worldwide within their stronghold in Vienna. That is, until the Second Inquisition blew it up in 2008, destroying the Vienna Chantry in the once establishing unity, causing the Tremere to fight over resources, hating each other, and dividing the Tremere into 3 factions. You have the Loyalists, who joined Karl Schecht, who still believe in the aforementioned pyramid scheme of House Tremere. House Goratrix, who we have discussed in great detail already, formed the Tremere Anti-Tribute. Then there is House Kana, led by the former regent and primogen of Clan Tremere in Milwaukee, and one-time prince of the Marseilles. House Kana is very much a splinter group from the main house who sympathised with the Anarch movement, and they refer to themselves as the Ipsimissus Tremere. There are those who are members of the Unbowed Mundanes, who serve to right the balance between those Tremere with and without the blood sorcery discipline. The Covenant protects the secrets of necromancy obtained by the Cappadocians, while the Third Eye attempts to right the wrongs of the crimes of diablerizing Salot. Being associated with this group is punishable by death in House Tremere. As you should know, each clan has a significant weakness, and no clan has undergone as many changes to their weakness in their blood than those of Clan Tremere. The original clan weakness consists of an initiation, which requires all neonates to drink from the blood of their 7 elders of the clan when they are created. This means that all Tremere are at least one step toward being bloodbound by the clan, and therefore had to watch their step very carefully when they're around their leaders. With the destruction of the Vienna Chantry, the Tremere are no longer able to create blood bonds with other kindred through normal means. A Tremere can still bind mortals and ghouls, however, though the corrupted Vitae must be drunk an additional number of times to form the bond. If you have learned anything from this little lesson, it is that Clan Tremere are a clan of secrets and power, one that has fueled their very existence. Whilst it is arguably the Ventru that sit high upon the throne of the Ivory Tower, it is Clan Tremere that supports the Camarilla. They are the ones who built the Camarilla and has kept it functioning. In less than 1,000 years, they have turned from a rebel bloodline to the cornerstone of the most powerful kindred society. Can you imagine what they could achieve in another 1,000 years, or what they would have done if they had begun the same time as the other clans? Doesn't that just scare you shitless? To keep updated, follow the Lore by Night VTM and Instagram pages to find out when we will upload each episode. You can also find out by subscribing to the YouTube channel and clicking on the little bell, as you'll be immediately notified when the latest episode is live. Until next time, farewell.